Hi everyone! This is the first of a series of videos on the ILO fundamental principles and rights at work. For this video, we will be taking up freedom of association and the right to collective bargaining. But before we go to that, let us first consider why are workers' rights important? Bakit ba importante na i-respect ang workers' rights? First, they protect workers. Put yourself in the position of a construction worker who works for 10 hours a day under the intense heat of the sun. Tapos, gumagawa siya ng dangerous work building a tall structure without safety equipment. And for what? For a wage that could barely sustain his basic needs. Diba? Clearly, exploitation yan. Kaya dapat yung worker ay aware siya sa kanyang workers' rights at kailangan merong mechanism in place para nare-respect ang rights ng mga workers. Second, when workers' rights are respected, this results to higher productivity. Why? Because workers get more motivated eh. So, pag mas motivated ka, mas magtatrabaho ka, at nagiging more productive nga ang labor force, nagpro-promote yan ng economic growth. Put it simply, pag masaya ang mga workers, mas masipag sila at mas nagiging productive sila. Ngayon, mas mag-earn ang kumpanya. Kaya yung business owner, mas marami siyang pera. At kung ang business owner ay nagre-respect ng rights ng mga workers, then most likely itong business owner na to ay willing na mag-share ng mas malaki niyang profit sa mga workers niya. Dahil dito, mas malaki ang kita ng business owner, mas malaki rin ang kita ng mga workers. Mas marami silang pera, mas marami silang binabayaran na taxes. At yung gobyerno ay mas marami ring pera na magagamit para sa mga projects that can boost the economy, such as infrastructure. Pagkatapos silang magbayad ng taxes, marami pa rin silang natitirang pera at pwede nilang spend yan, ipump into the economy, into other businesses. Kaya nagkakaroon ng domino effect. Kaya nagkakaroon ng economic growth. So what are these rights? First, freedom of association and right to collective bargaining. Second, elimination of forced labor. Third, elimination of child labor. Fourth, elimination of discrimination. And fifth, safe and healthy work environment. For this video, we will focus on freedom of association and the right to collective bargaining. What is freedom of association in relation to rights at work? This is the right to form and participate in groups aimed at advancing and safeguarding one's occupational interests. Let's see the elements of this definition. First is the right to form and participate in groups. Kaya pwede kang mag-create ng bagong grupo, pwede ka rin naman na sumali sa dati ng grupo. And the second is the purpose of these groups, advancing and safeguarding one's occupational interests. So, para ma-protect, para mas gumanda ang mga occupational interests. Kaya kung merong isang grupo sa workplace, pero ang purpose ay hindi ganito, kunwari, it's more of a social group in nature, then this does not fall under the freedom of association in relation to rights at work. Now, who are entitled to freedom of association? Workers are entitled to freedom of association. That is obvious kasi nga, freedom of association is a right at work. Kaya nga, merong workers' organizations. These refer to an organized group of workers who come together to form a labor union. Another term for labor union is trade union. Ang purpose nitong labor or trade unions, to protect the interests of workers. Examples, ang pinaka-common, yung mga labor unions na nakalimit lang ang membership sa iisang kumpanya. For example, Company X Labor Union or Company Y Labor Union. Pero meron ding labor unions na malalaki that consists of several small labor unions na nag-a-affiliate sila sa isa't isa. So they form a single group or organization. An example of this is TUCP, Trade Union Congress of the Philippines, and KMU, Kilusang Mayo 1. And take note, hindi lang workers ang entitled to freedom of association, employers are also entitled to it. Gaya kung merong workers' organizations, meron ding employers' organizations, which represent the employers in a particular industry or industry segment. Example, sa United Kingdom, merong CIA. Hindi ito Central Intelligence Agency. This is Chemical Industries Association, which is a group of employers in the chemical industry. Tapos, ang mga employers' organizations, nire-represent nila syempre yung interest ng business class para maprotektahan din sila. Dito sa Pilipinas, examples are ECOP, which is Employers Confederation of the Philippines, and PCCI, which is Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Now, what can workers and employers do in their organizations? Both workers and employers have the right to draw up their constitution and rules, elect their officers, join an umbrella organization comprising of several small organizations. For example, TUCP, or the Trade Union Congress of the Philippines, is the largest national trade union in the Philippines. It consists of 480,000 members. In turn, TUCP is also a member of an even bigger organization, which is the International Confederation of Free Trade Unions. Bakit pinipili ng mga trade unions na maki-affiliate o mag-member dito sa mga bigger na organizations? Kasi pag mag-isa lang sila, nakarely lang sila sa kanilang sarili, less powerful sila. Pero pag naging member sila nitong bigger na organization, they become more powerful because they can draw support from the other members. And lastly, plan and carry out their activities. What are these activities? They are those that are aimed to promote the welfare of their members in relation to their work. They can do practically anything to achieve this, but within a certain limit. So, ano itong limit na to? To answer that question, let us look at the next question. What is the relationship between these organizations and the law of the land? Both workers and employers and their organizations should respect the law of the land. Therefore, the activities of workers, employers, and their organizations are bound by the limits set by law. They can do anything to promote their own interests as long as these activities are legal. For example, mga workers pwede sila mag-protest. Kunwari, merong unfair labor practices kasi protesting is legal. Pero, hindi sila pwedeng manira ng property ng kumpanya kasi yung paninira ng property ay considered illegal. On the other hand, the law of the land should not impair the different aspects of freedom of association. For example, there should be no law that will prohibit workers from organizing themselves into groups and protesting against unfair labor practices. Kasi, legal naman yon, di ba? Pero pag gumawa ng law, magiging illegal. E paano na ang rights ng workers? Kaya bawal yung ganong law. Who manages the workers and employers organizations? Both workers and employers have the right to manage their own organizations. And very, very important, it should be free from any outside interference. Saan ba pwedeng manggaling yung outside interference na yan? Ang pinaka-common source ng interference na ito ay sila mismo, sila isa't isa. For example, the workers may interfere with employers' organizations and the employers may interfere with the workers' organizations. Ang mas vulnerable dito sa relationship na to ay ang mga workers kasi merong imbalance in power. Mas powerful yung mga employers. So, mas common na yung employers ay nakikialam doon sa workers' management of their organizations. Hindi dapat ginagawa yan. Kaya bawal, for example, na yung employer ay magsusupport, kunwari, doon sa workers' organization in terms of financial support para ma-dominate nila itong workers' organization na to. Kailangan independent sila sa isa't isa. Can employers prohibit workers from joining unions? Hindi pwede yan. Workers should enjoy protection against acts of anti-union discrimination. What does this mean? Ano ba itong mga acts na to? First, make the employment of a worker subject to the condition that he will not join a union or will relinquish membership in a union. So, for example, merong open na position, tapos meron ng mga nag-a-apply, hindi pwedeng gawing condition nung employer na, okay, i-hire ka namin, pero kailangan mag-agree ka na hindi ka sasama sa union, or kung member ka ng union ay kailangan mag-resign ka from the membership. Bawal yan. Second, cause the dismissal of or otherwise prejudice a worker by reason of union membership or because of participation in union activities outside of working hours or with the consent of the employer within working hours. So, hindi pwede na ite-terminate o ipa-fire itong worker na to dahil lang sa kanyang union membership or dahil nag-participate siya sa union activities outside of working hours. Yung outside ng kanyang working hours, yung time na yon ay time na niya. Wala nang pakialam ang kumpanya doon sa ginagawa niya. As long as ang kanyang ginagawa ay legal naman. Or kahit nagpa-participate siya doon sa activities ng union within working hours, kung meron namang consent yan ng employer, hindi rin pwedeng gawin na maging basis yon para siya ay ma-dismiss. Ano naman itong otherwise prejudice a worker? For example, yung worker ay hindi ma-promote dahil nga for the same reasons. Bawal din yan. Okay, before we proceed, please click the subscribe button. Connected to the freedom of association is the right to collective bargaining. Ano nga ba ito? This is an activity or process leading up to a collective agreement. Ito naman ba ang collective agreement? Tingnan natin yung characteristics. So, syempre, agreement yan. May kasunduan. At dapat ito ay in writing. Hindi pwede na usapan lang. Anong dahilan? Kasi magpipirmahan yung mga parties na involved. At tungkol saan yan? Tungkol ito sa working conditions and terms of employment. Ang mga parties na involved dito ay ang employer at worker. Kaya sino nagpa-participate? Pwedeng ang employer or a group of employers or one or more employers organizations. And then, on the other hand, one or more representative workers organizations, or kung wala silang organization, pwedeng yung representative duly designated by the workers. And what are the effects of a collective agreement? So, nagkaroon na ng agreement. Ano ang mangyayari dahil dito? First, the collective agreement binds the signatories and the parties represented by the signatories to the terms and conditions stated in the agreement. So, agreement ito between workers and employers, meron silang representatives at yung representative nila ang magsasign. So, it will bind the ones that signed and the parties represented by the ones who signed to the terms and conditions stated in the agreement. The terms and conditions in contracts of employment that are contrary to the collective agreement are automatically regarded as null and void. Kaya kunwari, nagkaroon ng agreement na ang sweldo ay itataas sa lowest rank, magiging 15,000. Yung dati nilang employment contract, ang nakalagay doon, ang sweldo nila ay 13,000. So once nag-take effect itong agreement na to, null and void na yung 13,000 na sweldo. Automatically, magiging 15,000 na ang sweldo ng lowest ang rank. Hindi na kailangan na pumirma pa ng bagong employment contract na iniiba yung sweldo. However, terms and conditions in contracts of employment which are more favorable to the workers than those in the collective agreement are not considered null and void. For example, merong isang group of workers na tumatanggap ng 16,000 pesos a month. Sila ay nagbibilong pa rin dun sa lowest rank pero iba yung kanilang sweldo. Di ba nagpirmahan na doon sa collective agreement ay magiging 15,000 ang salary ng lowest rank of workers. So, ano mangyayari sa kanila? Magiging 15,000 ba sila o mariretain ba ang kanilang 16,000 salary? They will still receive 16,000. Hindi mag-a-apply sa kanila yung 15,000 na nandoon sa collective agreement kasi yung present salary nila is more favorable to them. Okay, so hindi yon magiging null and void. Ito ang tungkol sa freedom of association and collective bargaining. Kaya I hope na natutuhan ninyo at ma-appreciate ninyo, later on ay mai-apply ninyo pag kayo ay nagtatrabaho na.